They haven't even had time to recover. After losing two of their top leaders, today, Iran may have lost another one, its intelligence minister. This information hasn't been officially confirmed yet, but with high-ranking officials being targeted one after another, you have to wonder, who is even left to run the country? Iran's foreign minister remains defiant, claiming that assassinations like these will not bring the nation down. Iran does not depend on a single individual, he said. These attacks are meaningless. But let's be honest, that sounds more like a statement to boost morale than reality, because anyone can see how devastating it is to lose top leadership. Even in a company, replacing a department head can be chaotic and painful. And now, we're talking about the second most powerful figure in a country of 90 million people. Appointing a replacement? Easy. Finding someone capable enough to carry that responsibility? That's a completely different story. Companies spend years trying to find the right manager and still fail. So imagine replacing one of the most powerful figures in an entire nation. That's why when Iran says it won't collapse, it's likely just a show of strength. Because deep down, everyone knows things are far from stable. And the bigger question is, who would even dare to take those positions now? When it feels like Israeli intelligence has a tracker on every leader. These assassinations aren't happening in remote areas. They're happening right in the capital. If the capital isn't safe, then nowhere is. But here's the strange part. Despite losing so many high-ranking leaders, Iran is still causing serious trouble for both the US and Israel. So much so that today, Donald Trump reportedly lost his temper with his NATO allies. He asked them to send forces to secure the Strait of Hormuz, and no one agreed. So Trump reacted, clearly frustrated, basically saying, "Oh really? You dare turn your back on me? I was just testing your loyalty anyway. I don't need your help. I can handle this alone." He even hinted that the US might reconsider its massive spending on NATO, because right now, it feels like America is paying the bills, while others just sit back. The US covers around 70% of NATO's budget, yet when America needs support, everyone stays silent. And that says a lot, because it shows that things inside the US camp aren't much better than Iran. Today, the US National Counterterrorism Director also resigned, saying he could not support the war against Iran without going against his conscience. According to him, Iran is not a direct threat to the US, and this war is being driven by pressure from Israel. So why is NATO refusing to act? There are three main reasons. First, NATO is a defensive alliance, not an offensive one. If a member is attacked, everyone responds. But if you start a war on your own, don't expect everyone to follow. At most, they'll support sanctions, soft power. Military action? That's a different story. Second, they don't believe this war can be won. If they were confident in victory, they would have joined already. But instead, every country is shaking their head. That tells you everything. And third, they no longer fully trust the US, especially Donald Trump. After all, he once suggested taking Greenland, even by military force. And Denmark is a NATO member. So if even allies can become targets, how can anyone feel safe? So NATO steps back, focuses on itself, and honestly, can you blame them? Why risk everything for a war that might not be winnable, especially when the US itself might turn on its own allies? At this point, Trump seems to be struggling. He launched the attack first, but when things didn't go as planned, he called for help. When no one came, he pushed back. Threats, frustration, pressure. But the truth is, the US doesn't protect NATO for free. It benefits massively, selling weapons, exporting goods, controlling regional security. So when Trump says Europe is taking advantage, that's a very complicated claim. And now, when the U.S. talks about helping Ukraine for Europe, Europe isn't even at the negotiation table. It's just the U.S. and Russia. That says everything. At this point, every call Trump makes to Europe feels like it's going unanswered. And maybe, just maybe, everything will only change when the situation forces it to.